Hey girls, come on. Come on girls. Hi Onslow. Hello. Hello. Okay, I'll get you some apples. Okay, so it is the next day. Today is Sunday. Made really good progress on mucking out the cow area yesterday. I got it all mucked out. So I got the middle of the cow area all scraped out. I'm not going to scrape the bedding area on the sides just because I want it to have at least a few inches of deep litter anyway for the goats in the winter so they don't get too cold in here. And I'm going to be spreading new hay in the middle so it should level out. So I'm not worried about the sides. And in fact, this hay I put in yesterday. So what I did was I had this all full for the cows so they could eat. I just tossed it over. So I'm going to use that all as bedding. So my plan is to put a cattle panel wall on this side. I'm going to take that bar down, which I actually had put up so that calves couldn't get through, which last year I had issues with the standards. They were still skinny enough that they could fit through these gaps. So they would get in here and muck up their feed. And so I put that bar there so they couldn't get through. So anyway, I don't need that bar anymore. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to put a cattle panel wall here. My plan is I'm going to put the ducks in here this year. So you can see it's pretty wide. It's probably about 6 feet wide. It's more than enough space. And so let me back up actually so you can see. Okay, so now you can see how long it actually is. I would guess that's about, I think this hay ladder is about 20 feet. It's probably about 24 feet long by 6 feet wide. It's more than enough space for the ducks this winter. So it'll be a cattle panel wall, and then I'm going to chicken wire it so that the ducks can't get through. I'm going to put the ducks in here this winter. So I left some hay in the back to spread for the ducks. I was thinking I could even half this space and do half for the 3 ducks and half for the buckling goat so he can still be by the big bucks. I'm not really decided on that yet. It would give more space for the girl goats, but I don't really think I need to do that. So I don't know. We'll see. So what I'm going to be working on today is I was able last night to get these tables cleaned off, and I put a new top on that table. And so what I need to do now is I need to put a little bridge connecting them, and then I need to make steps so that they can actually hop up onto those tables. So I need to go look for some wood to make the bridge with, and then probably a couple pieces of board, a couple boards to make steps with. So that's what I'm gonna work on next. So I actually did already go outside and check my board stash in the machinery shed. I've got some boards propped up out there, and I think that those would work good. They're a nice, I've got some that are like a really wide width. They're some of the old timber that was left in the barn when we moved here. And you don't see boards like that anymore. They're like 2 inches thick. They're probably about 18 inches wide, really light. They are nice boards. And I think I'll probably end up doing like shelving with those in the commercial kitchens and like put them more on display and finish them up because they're really nice boards and I don't want to waste those on the goats. So I'm gonna actually go upstairs here in the barn and check the stash up here. So let me flip you around. So still got a good supply of hay. Like I said, we're all full up for the year now. We're going through about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, probably about 5 to 6 bales of hay a day. This should last us probably well into the spring, I think. So I'm going to be careful, but okay, so that is a fake wasp nest. That's supposed to deter wasps from coming and making their nests here. But what we saw was it didn't do a great job this year. I'm going to try not to get too close. I don't know if you can see it yet. Right there is a big wasp nest. And I think it's mostly our fault. We left these doors open most of the summer. I can see them flying in and out. We've got pretty close to them and they've left us alone. So I'm hoping they're going to leave me alone today. But I am just looking for boards. So let me see what I can find. Okay, so I have a couple of specific things that I'm looking for. I want something that's wide. Either one board that's probably about 18 inches wide, or I'll need to cut something to length, which I don't want to do because, you're not going to get that length back. So if I cut a board in half, and it's not ever going to be as usable to me as a long board as if I don't cut it. So, and I also need something that's relatively thick. So, because Poe probably weighs about 150 pounds, and I don't want to get a board that's too thin and have them break on the goats, because I know they're going to roughhouse on this, so I want something nice and sturdy that I don't have to worry about them accidentally breaking. So I don't want a beam, so let me come see what I've got over here. I've got some half-inch boards over here. I want something a little bit thicker. Unfortunately, I think those other boards were probably the best fit for what I need, but I really don't want to use them. These boards, they're in pretty rough shape already anyway. I wouldn't feel terrible about using those. They're a little thin, but I could double them up. I would feel pretty good about that. Maybe I could use those. Okay, I think I'm going to go with these two boards for that bridge. I think that's going to be my best option. Like I said, they're already in really rough shape. I'm not going to feel bad about using those for the goat area. I can just double them together. It will be fine. And so I think what I'll do to kind of do like little stairs for, so I'll have the bridge, but I want little like supports so that they don't slip off of the board. And I knew I should have saved these, but I wasn't sure yet that I wanted to do this with the goat area, so I sold them. But I had a pile of roofing shingles, and that would have also been a really good option. But what I think I'll do is, I've got this whole box here of like 1 by 1 inch, I don't know what these are. I wouldn't really call these boards, I would just call them like supports. So what the previous owner had used these for was to age the lumber that he had made, I think, from this property, is he would put these in between the boards so there would be airflow. And so I've got a whole box of these up here, and I think these will be perfect. I can just cut them to length and make these as like little stairs for the goats. So I'm going to take a handful of these and use them on their little bridge. So I'm going to start with the bridge, and then I'll come back up and see what I need for making like steps for them to get up onto those tables. The smaller table, I'm thinking, I don't know, I've got a bunch of railroad ties outside, or I have some stumps laying around, and I could just do like a couple of stumps and then they could hop up. I think that would be pretty cute. And then I could move them around. I have one box that would be pretty suitable, like a wooden box that would be suitable for that as well, downstairs. You know, I could also just put a couple bales of hay. They would be fine with that. So anyway, I'll think of that later, but I'm gonna get going on this bridge, I think. Get that done at least first. Okay, so got the bridges done. I ended up putting this one closer here. I didn't think I was going to do that, but I think it turned out pretty good. Curious to see how the goats like it. You can see it behind me here. So I didn't think I was going to do that lower ramp because I am contemplating putting the calf in here with the boy goats this winter. There's plenty of space for them. I really don't think that they would bug her. And I wanted to leave room for her to run circles, but she could still cut through under this bar because she can fit under there. And like Hyacinth can, if she wanted to, still get under there. So she should be able to get under there all winter long and be fine. And she can still run circles around in here, and it should be more than enough space. So I don't know why I hadn't thought of putting her in here before, but I was thinking last night because I wanted to put her in where the goats are now. And I was like, well, why can't she just still be in here with the boy goats? And I don't see any reason why she can't. I don't imagine she will try to climb these. That would be the only thing that I could think of that would be an immediate, she has to go somewhere else. I don't think she's going to try to climb those. If she does show any interest in those, she will get pulled, and I'll put her in the big stall. It's not that much less room than this. It would just be nice to have, you know, not another area that I need to continuously muck out. So I'm going to try that, having everybody in here. I was also thinking about putting a cattle panel wall on this side. So that door goes out to the horse area, and she's actually behind the door right now. And then when I do open that door, she can come in and get through here, and then she runs around in here. So there's, you know, if I needed more room for them or wanted her to have a separate area, I could always put her where the goats are. I could always keep her where she is now. Like, there are lots of options, because I was thinking too, you know, the only reason why I use that side is to get to the horses. And I was like, well, I guess I could just keep that open and not do a cattle panel wall. And then they would have this area, that walkway, and the stall outside, which would about double their space. It just would depend on how gross they get it. Because, like, if they end up just standing in the walkway pooping, it's not worth it. because I will just have to keep cleaning it up. So still toying around with ideas, but this will be a big improvement for the boy goats. I'm really hoping that they like that. I imagine I put 2 tables in here because I imagine that they will end up sleeping on those tabletops. The girl goats do that right now. They like a nice hard surface to sleep on, and I thought one table would be too small for both boy goats to sleep on, so I wanted them each to have their own space. You know, they're bucks. They're gonna fight over who's getting the taller table. I know they will. So I'm hoping that they'll have enough room to each have their own space to sleep up there if they want to get off the cold concrete. So yeah, what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna toss a lot of those hay piles into the middle around the tables, and then I will have to start working on that cattle panel wall. Now, before I do that, I need to find my bolt cutters. I have been looking for these bolt cutters. I do not know where they went to. I know I brought a pair of bolt cutters with me because I cut cattle panels to make the goat area where the girls are right now. So I know I have one. And I have a pair of, what are they called? Like, branch cutters with the long handles for like trimming fruit trees and things. I have a pair of those, and I know where those are, and I know that the bolt cutters are different, even though they both have red handles. So I just don't know where I put it, which, if you know me, is very unlike me. I generally pride myself in knowing where everything is. I can think of a couple of places where they should be. Like maybe I had accidentally tucked them too far back up on a shelf and I can't see it. So I need to look for those before I start working on the wall. That's what I'm trying to get to. I have enough cattle panels that I don't need to take anything apart to do that wall. I've got an 8-foot cattle panel sitting right here. I also have one that I was using to hook up behind the lawnmower and take it to the horse area and spread manure around. I actually need to get that off of the lawn because the lawn's growing through it. So I do need to pull that up. And then I've got a couple propped up in the machinery shed. So I have lots of options. I just need to find those bolt cutters. So yeah, I'm going to get to work again. It's going pretty good. That only took me about 20 minutes to finish those ramps. So I think I'm just going to keep working in here on the hay because it is the middle of the day here. It's Sunday. It's actually kind of warm outside. It's 71 degrees outside. So I am glad we didn't move the poultry up to their barn space yesterday like I had wanted to. Our plan is to do it tonight. I need to check the weather. Actually, let me do that right now. So it's pretty warm up there, and I might have to move a fan back up there anyway. But let me look. It's supposed to get up to 72 today. And then all of next week, 50s, and our high is 65. So I think I'm safe to put them upstairs again. I don't imagine we're going to get much hotter than that, or any hotter than today. And if we do, I have a couple of fans. Like I have, let's see, these 2 fans that the cows love that I could take down if I need to. And then I have a fan in the goat maternity ward that I could move. I don't really use it right now in the maternity ward because nobody's in there except for the cats. And it's getting cold enough at night that I don't want that fan running. We're supposed to get down into the 30s at night, I think 3 days this week. The only place that I still have fans running is where the girl goats are, just because it is very well insulated in there, which is great for them in the winter. They stay nice and warm, but it means it gets really pungent in there when it's not running and it's like 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s. It gets too warm in there and it gets kind of stagnant. So I just keep the fans to circulate there. It's not really to cool them off. It's just to keep things moving. But like today I'm in the barn working and I've got, you can see the light coming through. I've got the big door open and that gives us a nice breeze. And I do like to do that in the day right now anyway for the boy goats because they're inside all the time. And at least then they can see outside and see what's going on. I like to think that they appreciate that. So, yeah, okay, I'm going to put you guys on another time lapse while I do this hay. Okay, so it's been a few days. I am still working on the goat area. So you can see behind me, I've been working on putting up the cattle panels along the old cow guardrails, so that the boy goats won't come into the walkway here. And it's going pretty well. I had to take a few days worth of a break. And I did find today, I finally found my bolt cutters, which actually were in the spot that I thought they were going to be. They were in my little storage space in the barn. So now that I've got my bolt cutters, I have on this side this last little bit to do. You can see it essentially goes from, let me tip you down a little bit. It essentially goes from that water, little water trough, like the automatic water that they used to have for the dairy cows. So I need to patch it from here to the wall. And so I've got this 8-foot piece that I'm going to be cutting in half. I don't love to cut things in half like that, but there's really no other good way. I don't want it to look hodgepodge, and like I could secure a piece of plywood and just temporary do it, but I want it to look nice. And so far I'm really happy with how this looks with the cattle panels. I think this will be really great. And so you can see on the ground, on the floor there, it has the indent where they would have put feed for the cows. I thought I was going to put the cattle panel all the way down to the bottom of that, but instead I was able to rest it up on the little concrete lip on the top, so it ended up being a little bit higher than I was expecting it to be. So I actually do really like that. You can see if I'm standing here, it is actually very tall. Like, it is pretty tall. I think it's going to be plenty tall enough to keep the boy goats from jumping over. I just am really liking how this looks, and I think it will make it neater when I also attach the chicken wire to the bottom of this to keep the ducks in, because I'm going to be putting the ducks on this side. I really like it. So I've got the calf in right now. She's going to come over here. I just fed her half a gallon of milk. She's doing pretty well with weaning. She will be 5 months next week. So we are starting to wean her. She's getting right now about a gallon she's got her zoomies, about every third day. Today she had half a gallon. The other part of weaning her is we're not just weaning her, we're drying off Hyacinth. So she's probably going to try to come through because she figured out she could get through before, but I just put this panel up today, so she doesn't know what to do now. So the other part of weaning her is we're drying Hyacinth up, and so yesterday I milked her just to take off some of the pressure, and that was the 4th day she was full. So we are very near to being completely done with milking her. So I actually only have another gallon of her milk in the fridge. So I've got 1 more gallon for Caffey Girl here, and then she really could be weaned. She's doing pretty well. We've been transitioning her to grain, been trying not to add on too much too quick. I don't want to give her the runs. And she's been doing really well on grain and hay, and the little bit of milk. So like I said, she's old enough. She's going to be 5 months old next week. We had hoped to get to 6 months with her. I don't think it's going to be the end of the world if we do 5 months. It just kind of felt right for drying Hyacinth up. I think Hyacinth was ready to be done. So, and, don't get me wrong, that was a very short lactation for her. But she's having a hard time settling with AI this time. And she's had 3 calves in 3 years. She's kind of ready for a break. So we're going to give her a little bit longer of a dry period this time. So anyway, Calf is in here. She has not tried to climb up on my goat pavilion here. And so my current plan is to try letting her be in here with the boy goats. I don't think they're going to bother her. She's more than big enough to stand her own with them. Even with Poe, she outweighs him already. You like that mineral? I filled that mineral dish up. She figured out that there's mineral in there. It's a loose mineral. It's good for cows, goats, and sheep. So she's fine to eat it. The only problem I've noticed is she tries then to bop it up with her face, and I don't want her spilling it out all the time because I don't want to keep wasting it. So she's in here right now because I've got Let me see if I can zoom in and you can see him. You can see Jetta's ear in the window. It just went down. He's out there eating his grain for the night. So I've been putting him back on grain because he is, I think that's Mary kicking the gate. Or that might be Poe. Anyway, so Jetta tends to not keep weight very well. He's 16 years old, and I'm pretty sure he's a standard bred mix, and they don't keep weight very well. So I'm going back to graining him at night. And right now he's also getting some dexamethasone because he also can be quite fussy when the weather changes. So he was coughing the other day, and so I've been giving him some Dex. And as of yesterday, his cough went away. So I'm going to step him off of the dexamethasone because it's a steroid. You have to step them down. You can't just immediately stop. So he's out there eating grain. I've got the calf in here right now with me, and I'm going to get going on working on this cattle panel. And then I'm topping up waters tonight. I could fill up the water bin in here, and I might actually put the boy goats in here tonight. I have decided that I probably will also cattle panel that other side. I have one other 16-foot panel, which is exactly what I need. And then with me cutting this 8-foot panel in half, I will be able to do the other side. So I think I probably will just do that, and then it will leave me the option of stacking hay over on that side for the goats. It will make it so that the goats and the calf can't get in there and muck it up. And the other thing that I'm toying around with doing, and it's not going to happen immediately, but now that I've got this sectioned off, these side walkways would be really perfect for rabbits. I could stack cages here quite easily. I got a nice concrete floor, and especially this side, it's really wide here. I could very easily take out these shelves and stack cages, and I could get back into rabbits. So I really might think about doing that. I really do enjoy raising meat rabbits, and this would be the perfect space for them. I also think because, I had up until now always thought this was going to be the cow area, and it still very well could, but I am really liking the idea of maybe just keeping this area for goats and using the sides for rabbits, because I still have plenty of room to put the cows in the middle of the barn, which is an area that I have not known what to do with because it's just kind of awkward. But I have this huge space here. I could put the cows here really easily. So I'm really toying around with the idea of getting back into meat rabbits. We will see. I have a lot on my plate. I'm not trying to rush into anything, but I do really like that idea.